college student, so it's been about a decade removed from this incident, but it's been on my mind ever since, and I thought it'd be interesting to see if anyone else has experienced what I have. So, when I was in 3rd grade, I think sometime around that spring, I had a very realistic dream of me just going about my day in elementary school. I remember going to the bathroom, talking to my teacher about some writing assignment, but that's about the extent of what I can recall. I distinctly remember waking up thinking how odd the dream was. The rest of the morning happened as usual, and the first couple of hours of class went without a hitch. That's when the time skip happened. I looked at the clock and it read 9:34. A few minutes later, I remember looking back up at the clock and it reading somewhere around 1. I remember being very confused and asking people around me why the clock read 1 o'clock when it was 9 just a few minutes ago. They all looked at me weird, so I then asked them if we had lunch. One classmate said, "We just had lunch." At this point, I was super freaked out, but didn't want to act like I was scared. I remember telling my teacher about this, and she first told me to drink water, as usual, and then started asking me about things about my day, i.e. my conversation with her about my writing assignment, and that's when it hit me. My dream that I had that night was actually what happened to me in between the time I was supposedly conscious. I told my parents all of this when I went back home, and they were concerned, thinking that I might have been bullied or knocked out unconscious, both of which weren't true. At the end of the day, I decided to move on from it since no one would have believed something like this. Ever since, I've never had an experience like this, and I've always felt nervous or anxious whenever I experience a moment of deja vu. Thinking an experience like that